Hi, this is Cindy Hales, and you're listening to The Cindy Hales Show. I'm here today with Hillary VanOrnum, and she's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and one of the co-owners of Unicorn Jiu-Jitsu down in Portland, Oregon. I've known Hillary for several years, and I'm a big fan of hers, and I'm super stoked to be able to sit down and talk to her about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and competitions and starting a new school. And right now, some weird stuff going on. We have coronavirus, so we cover a bunch of different things, and I'm excited to get this podcast out to you, and I hope you enjoy it. Thanks a lot, and here is me and Hillary talking about lots of different stuff.
Says you're recording.
Says we're recording. Okay. So hi, Hillary. How are you?
Hi, Cindy.
So,
I'm okay.
Thanks.
A little tired.
A little tired. Thanks for taking some time to talk to me. Well, we'll introduce you. You're Hillary VanOrnum. You're a black belt down in Oregon. You have a school, Unicorn Jiu-Jitsu. So tell me, how did you get started in Jiu-Jitsu? I'm going to start way back. How did you get started in Jiu-Jitsu?
So I don't know what year it was because that's hard math. Maybe like 2005-ish, 4-ish, 5-ish, 4-ish. For Christmas, my brother really wanted to get back into martial arts. He had done martial arts his whole life, and he wanted to get back to training. So for Christmas that year, I was like, okay, I'll buy you 2 months of training somewhere. And he took like a month and looked around, and we were living in DC at the time. And he found a gym that had like this MMA kind of program. Every day was a different martial art. And when we went into the gym to sign him up, I was like, you know what? I think I want to try this too. So that's how we got started.
Oh, wow.
Each day, like one day was like Koshikan karate. I don't know if I'm saying that right, because I didn't know what the hell I was doing. But we wore gis, like we had these black Tama, like the gold weave gis, and we wore the gis for everything. So one day would be like the kickboxing, basically. One day would be jujitsu. There would be judo, Krav Maga, and Vale Tudo, and then like some weapon stuff, which I guess goes with the Krav stuff. And every day was something different. And we did that for a year. And we had like it had its own belt system. It was called Combat Defense Systems. And this was at a gym called One Spirit Martial Arts in Herndon, Virginia. And it's actually where Pedro Sauer is based out of now. So it was a Pedro Sauer gym. And the original coach, the jiu-jitsu coach, was Tony Passos, who he was with Atos for a long time. Like he was cornering Galvao in most of his big matches, but I don't know if he's still with Atos or not. I haven't kept in touch. But he was a purple belt at the time. And
so early days.
Yeah, they changed that program. The purple belt was the coach. There was a couple blue belts, and that was it. And we had like one black belt come in to do a seminar, and his name was like, I can't even remember, Bolka. That was his nickname, was Boca. Mouth.
Brazilian dude?
Brazilian dude from Florida, but I don't know what his actual name was.
Boca.
Boca. And then after a year doing that, they were like, you know what, we're going to switch this program and just make it Krav Maga. And we were like, just that program we were doing, they still kept the jiu-jitsu there, but our judo coach was like, you guys should come and train with us at my judo gym. And I was like, okay. And we went there, and there were tons of black belts, and his daughter was trying to make the Olympic team, but she was always right behind Ronda Rousey. So it's a legit judo place. Now they're associated with Yamasaki in DC. And one of Yamasaki's main guys is running the jiu-jitsu program there, and then the judo programs there. But anyway, so we did judo full time for a year, and then moved back to Portland. 2007, 2000. I'm having to look to Brian. 2007, and when we moved back here, it was just Brian and I that moved back here. Brian wasn't training at the time, but my brother stayed in DC.
So he hadn't started yet.
I got him to do like a judo class, and he didn't like it. At the time. But when we moved back here, I was like, oh, I need my brother, my training partner. Have you met my brother before?
I haven't met him yet.
He's like 6'5", and he's me, but 6'5", male. Uh-oh.
Okay. No, we're still here.
I lost you for a second. Which was an odd, I'm 5'10", so I'm tall, but he's 6'5", so that was kind of an awkward training, like, partner. So I took 2 years off, and then when he moved back here, we started back again at Team Quest here in Portland.
Okay, with Fabiano. Was that Fabiano then?
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
So that's like the how we started. And then when we were at Team Quest, I was like, I'm gonna do kickboxing. Like I want to do MMA because that's a great idea, right?
Always. Yeah. Well, back then that was the thing that you pretty much, especially if you were a girl, I think that was the option. It was like there wasn't a lot of jujitsu, and you could get a little more stuff in MMA. That's kind
But
of what
there
I
were
was like. Oh, there's more stuff, but there's not very much stuff, but a little stuff, and a little stuff is sort of more stuff. That was
but
like the
then
logic.
yeah, and I trained for like 2 years, and we tried to find me fights, and there was no girls my size.
Totally.
Um, and then I did my first jujitsu tournament. Fabiano was like, "Yeah, we should go down to this Abu Dhabi World Pro Trials," and I was like, "Sure."
Yeah.
And I did that for my first tournament, and I was like, "Holy shit! There's other." Can I swear on this thing?
Totally, you can
Okay.
for sure.
Holy shit! There's other girls like my size. Like what the hell? Like this is amazing. And I was a blue belt at the time.
Okay.
And then I
So,
did
and that was
Worlds as
down
my
in
second
California or
tournament.
something?
Yeah, I was in San Diego.
Okay, so just big tournament, first tournament,
Big
and then
tournament,
Worlds was the
and then
next one.
Worlds is the second one, and that at that time at Worlds, they let all the girls do the open weight class. Like, you didn't have to qualify. I lost my first
Uh-huh.
match in my division, and I was so mad. I lost by, like, a sweep in the last, like, 30 seconds, and I was like, "Ugh!" And they had us do the open weight class the next day, so we came back, and I won, like, 4 matches, but there
Mhm.
were 80 something girls in the open weight class because we were all like, well, hell, we're down here. Might as well do it.
Yeah.
And I made it to like the quarterfinals, and I lost to the chick that ended up winning, who I've never heard of since. Like
Oh
she won
man.
the open weight class at Worlds at blue belt, and then I've never seen her again. Some
And
Canadian girl.
disappeared. What year was that again? 2005-ish, you said?
No, this
7?
was like that's when we started. So that
Okay.
was I think 2011 or 12.
Okay.
I'm terrible.
Okay. I am too. That's
I could look. I have my medals like up on the wall. I think Brian, was it
like which one?
2011? Yeah, we think 2011.
Okay, so the Worlds for that one.
Yeah, I think. It might have been
And
12. I don't know. It was my second year of blue belt too.
okay,
Yeah.
and you've done Worlds several times since then, like in your competition kind of repertoire. You've done a lot of those big tournaments.
Yeah, because that's the only time I get to go against like girls my size. Locally, I've
Uh,
never competed locally except for the one Portland Open. But there was a girl that came up into my weight class like last year. Like no sub
okay.
leagues, no revolutions. Like Jeff
Never.
would always be like, "Here's your money back. Nobody wants to go with you." I'm like, "Okay, cool."
Yeah. Yeah, that's a bummer. It is nice that like there are the options if you want to travel. At least you're starting to find them, and hopefully in the future they're going to kind of expand out. I remember I went to Pan Am's in like 2005, and it was still like purple through black, like
Mhm.
two weight divisions, I think, like
Yeah.
135 under, 135 over, something crazy like that, and three belts. And that
Yeah.
was one of the bigger tournaments. So, well, I know lately, or like in the last few years, you've been at Master Worlds quite a bit. Like I know I
Mhm.
went a few years ago, and you've had some pretty good luck down at that, huh?
Yeah, we didn't go this past year because we had just opened the school up, so we made the adult decision not to go. And Brian was still recovering from his knee surgery last year,
Yeah.
and hopefully
So,
we'll go this year, but who knows?
dude, who knows? Who knows if there's going to be anything in 2020? Um, well, that kind of brings me. You talked about making the adult decision and uh, working on your school rather than competing. So
Yeah,
let's talk about your school. You just opened a school. When was it open?
May of last year, so
May of
not
last
quite a
year.
year.
And what city are you in?
We're in Portland.
You're in Portland proper.
Yep,
Okay. And it's called Unicorn Jiu Jitsu, and it's you,
hmm
Brian, and your brother.
correct. My
Okay.
brother, who's just now blue belt after all those years, started.
He's one of those guys. Wow. So that's pretty crazy. Are you like, dude, what happened? We started
Well,
together.
what happened?
What
Well,
are you doing?
I know what he had kids. He does kick. He teaches all the kickboxing classes here.
Okay.
So just different paths.
Totally. So he handles the kickboxing, and then you and Brian are doing the jujitsu side of it.
Yep.
How has it been? How has your first kind of year been at your school? I guess let's talk about how has your first year been
Up
prior
until now.
to what up to now, and then we can talk about what the hell is going on now, I guess.
Sure. Well, getting started, I mean, it was slow. We had a handful of students come with us from the gym that I was coaching at. Um, but it was like the first couple months, I would say. I'm gonna like look back to Brian, but he's editing the kids video we just did. There were some days where like it was just one person and they got a private lesson from both of us.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really slow at first, but then I guess last summer it started to pick up more. We started to get more. And then now we tend to have, I'd say, like 10 to 15 people on the mats in most classes.
Nice. That's
So
awesome.
it's grown. We could still grow. And then we started a kids program in like September, I think.
Okay.
And we've got about 12 or 13 kids right now.
Nice. Had
So
you taught kids before?
I taught kids at Team Quest, but it was like itty bitty kids and it was like obstacle courses and like just get them moving and like they threw some punches and maybe they learned how to shrimp and they learned how to do like a double leg so it wasn't, and then I'd worked with teenagers before at Team Quest also. We had like a community outreach program that worked with at-risk high school kids and that was very
Okay.
different too. It was still like an MMA base, like there weren't gis, but I would always work with the girls, the teenage
Yeah.
girls. So I have, but not in just a strictly jujitsu capacity.
How do you like
So
that? I
it's
know
been
some
interesting.
people really like it, some people not as much, some people in between. How do you feel? Pretty good? You like them? The tiny ones? Do you have
I
kids? You don't
like.
have any kids. You like
I wouldn't have
dogs.
any kids. Yes, I like my pug, and she's like older than all of our kids because she's almost 15 now. Um, I like working with older kids, like the 10 to
Hmm.
12-year-olds. I actually really do like, and there's some littler kids. It just depends on like we have one kid that he's done taekwondo, he's done other stuff, he's very disciplined, he's like 8 maybe, and he's
Hmm.
great, like he's like a little soldier. But then we have some, like my nephew is 6, he's about to turn 7, and this is his first athletic thing he's ever done, and he's
Yeah.
like, "This is hard," and we're like, "Yeah, my gi is choking me." I'm like, "Let me show you
Yeah.
your gi choking you."
The best thing
So
a kid's ever said to me is like, "What is this water coming out of me?" And it's like, "Oh, that's called
that's called
sweat."
sweat. Yeah. I'm really hot. Like, yeah, you should get hot. And this gi is
Yeah.
really hot.
It's itchy. I'm
it's
tired.
it's
Yeah.
choking me. It hurts. Like, well, let me show you.
Yeah. Yeah. The
Um,
little ones are a whole different ball game. It's a different challenge and a different skill.
if you have any advice, we would love like any advice on kids. I
Dude, one thing that I always try and tell people, that I think it may seem very simplistic, is when I first started teaching kids, I tried to teach them like they were just small adults, and I would try and teach them the moves that I knew. And I would get very frustrated, and they would get very frustrated, and it wasn't very fun. And then with kids, if it's not very fun, losing battle. So I started, early on, I started like kind of watching Pee Wee wrestling, and I saw how they were doing it, and I saw that they like really didn't. I'm not going to say didn't expect a lot, but in that very early ages, it was like if you grab the leg, that's great. One leg is a single leg. Grab the leg and pick it up. And very like uh, base instruction, and then you build from there rather than starting at a high level. And it seems obvious, but I really like remind people of that because what
yeah,
seems like really like simplistic to even an adult was like, no, 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 there are four,
we start
and
at 6.
okay, so even I start like I'll start now at 3, you know, but right now then it's been 6, but even 6, it's like, some of the lessons you're not trying to get perfection anytime soon. So that's kind of the biggest thing, and then you can have fun with them. and they can like have fun at the class, and eventually those things will grow.
Okay. Well, I think
Yeah.
we're getting to the point where we have a base group of kids that kind of know what's going on, and they help the newer
Hmm.
kids. We only had
Totally.
two kids come in. One was a white and gray belt, and one's a yellow belt. But I've been worried that they're bored, but at the same time, like they've liked helping the newer kids, and they've said that. So I'm like,
Hmm.
here, you get the brand new kid. Um,
Totally.
but yeah, I think
Yeah.
when we teach the kids, we're trying to like, okay, they kind of got an underhook. Okay, they kind of did a knee slice pass. They got to side control. Good job.
Yep. Yeah. Good job. And then we can get a little better each time. And
Yeah.
then lots of games. When they start like kind of getting that like look, I'm just like, okay, switch gears to games for a second. I do a lot of that, like, you know, technical. And then you can kind of see when, feel the room. You see when it's like, and then quickly before there's a mutiny, switch. Control the mutiny to like, okay, I'm going to direct that energy, do a little sparring,
Okay.
and then get them right back. Kind of try to feed that. And like before, sometimes if they if they wander off, it's hard to get them back.
Yeah. Well,
So
even with them rolling right now, it's kind of funny. Like it's funny watching them roll. They're just kind of figuring it out, and we're like, just get on top
hmm
and stay there. Okay, if you're on bottom, try to get on top. Like, and there's all kinds
totally.
of like giggling, and it's pretty
Hmm.
funny. Um, I'm waiting for the day that they like pull guard and like do a sweep or do an actual pass and like go to mount on purpose instead of like, well, how did I get here?
Yeah. Hee hee
Yeah,
hee.
that's what.
Yeah.
Well, my nephew will do that. He'll like be like, "Wow, I got the thing," and then like he goes and he gets like smashed again. He's like, "Oh, what
Totally.
happened?"
Yeah. Then you're like, no celebrating. You have to stay focused. Yeah. But I know the moment when they do start getting it, like when you're like, oh, they're actually doing a move and they're doing it like on purpose. It's like really rewarding. So
Yeah,
it'll definitely come.
it's
Um,
getting better. I don't dread the kids class like I did at first.
I
That's
know,
good,
like
right?
when, especially like the tiniest kids, dude. At my old school, I would try to find people to cover that class. Crickets. No one. Like three. Nothing scares like jujitsu guys. Like 3 to 6 year olds. Like it's a whole nother world. And they'll tell you like, I hate this class. This is stupid and I hate it. I don't want to do it. You're like, oh my god. Yeah. So yeah, kids are always a special challenge. I like the kids, um, but for sure they'll keep you on your toes.
Yeah,
So
well, we have all the kids together in one group. We
one
try to
big
like just 6 to 13.
nice.
We tried to separate them, but there were only a couple of the older kids, and now actually I think the older kids outnumber the littler kids, but we're like and a lot of siblings, and the parents wanted to bring them
Yeah,
together, so it was like, let's just put them all together.
totally. And I think when I'm doing the same thing for six and up, all just in one group. And I think
Yeah.
at a smaller school, that's the way to do it. That's what I found.
Okay.
And if you have, it's not as fun when you have like only 2 kids in the class, and then you have another class with 3 kids. A class of five
Yeah.
kids is better, and it's more convenient, and it's better for the staffing. Um, yeah, all those
We
little
do have a
tricks.
good stuffing.
Yeah,
I've
yeah.
got
You guys
like
come with a built-in buddy.
kind of, yeah. We've got well, Brian and I Brian runs the kids classes more than me, which is nice. It's been nice. And then my
Yeah,
brother, and then we've got two blue belt girls that help out too. So
awesome. That's rad.
yeah.
How is you always have lots of girls, and I've seen you be super active, girls and geese, and I know you've done some girls camps. You have a pretty big girls team down there.
I think I don't know the numbers, but I would think at least half of our members are women, if not more than
Nice,
half. So,
nice. That's
but with the
that's really
kids,
cool.
it's like half and half,
Yeah.
which yeah, naming it unicorn, I was wondering how many male members we would get. But the little boys like wear their unicorn shirts like, yeah, I don't care, it's a unicorn. Yeah, cool.
Think it's rad. Yeah.
Yeah. And then with the adult, the name has kind of self-filtered. Like we don't have the bros that are coming in that are like, yeah, I just want to fight. Like if they've come in, they've pretty much left on their own, which is
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, so we can talk about that because I kind of feel, the way I have at my school, it's like definitely like we don't have fighters, you know. We have guys that compete in jujitsu, but we're not like a fight gym. I
Hmm.
know I did that for a while, and what I was looking for then is definitely like radically different than what I'm kind of looking for now in training. And being confident and comfortable saying that, I think early on, as I was making kind of that transition, it was hard for me. Like, how do you be in here in this in the scene, in the jujitsu scene, and really, like kind of clinging to the that way, and then like seeing like no, I think for sustainability for me, kids, women, families are kind of the thing that like are my bread and butter, and then like really kind of embracing that has been one, it's been kind of freeing, and it's made things easier in the gym, trying to really set the aesthetic of the gym, set the tone of the gym, and then those people will find you. And I hadn't totally thought of it, but yeah, if you name your gym unicorn, some people will just be like, eh, and it's like, oh, that kind of is on purpose.
Well, that was we did think about that when we named it, and it's kind of
Yeah.
funny. We had a guy compete at one of the last, I guess, the Ground Warrior tournament that happened in January, and he like when he came in, I was like, I don't know if this guy's gonna last. Like he's a former Marine. He looks kind of like a bro. He's got tattoos. He's a bigger guy, but he's like,
Hmm.
I don't care. And then he in his division, he's like, I think he did heavyweight for men, which is like 210ish. And one of
Hmm.
his opponents was like, I'm not gonna let a guy from Unicorn Jiu Jitsu tap me. He did.
Nice.
Like our
Yeah.
guy got, yeah, and he's like, I don't care. Like I don't know. It's been funny to see the people that do gravitate towards the unicorn and embrace
Hmm.
it. And
Yeah.
when we talked to a marketing company, and they were like, "No, a unicorn like they're typically male, right? When have you heard of a female unicorn in mythology?" And they
Yeah.
have a phallic weapon on their head, and they're typically surrounded by like women, right? And they're beasts, they go out and they battle. What's
Yeah.
wrong with the unicorn? It's not a girly thing. So,
Yeah.
and I think our logo, my brother drew our logo and he tried to make it like fierce and not like super feminine.
Yeah,
So,
I think it's a great name, and I think like your whole aesthetic is great, and people definitely like recognize that as your team, and I think that's really what you want, and so I think you've done a
mm,
great job with it.
thanks. Now I just hope it
Yeah.
keeps growing, which that leads us.
So a couple more questions because I just opened a school too, so it's like I've been trying to find like different ways to see how people do different things. I know you've started doing the Intro to BJJ program, like where instead of just having people come in, they kind of sign up for an intro program. Were you
Well,
able to get one of those off yet?
we did one starting January and February,
Okay.
and we modeled ours off of Jeff Shaw up in Bellingham's.
Mhm.
I met him last fall, I think, when Dominica came. She went to his gym, and I went there to pick her up, and we did the seminar, and like we hung out with Jeff for a little while, and I love him. He's great,
Yeah,
and
he's
so
rad.
many ideas and such good energy. And he was like, "Yeah, if you want to do this, like pick my brain, use our stuff. Like I'll share everything with you." And all his stuff is online.
Mhm.
So we took what he did and like we modeled it for ourselves. Brian's making all kinds of noises back there. um, we took it. It's ours is a 8 week, so twice a week class. So it's 16 classes. So we took Jeff's material and we filtered it down to 16 classes.
Yeah.
Originally we're going to do it in our basement. We have our big mat space, which is like a little over 800 square feet, not very big. And
Mhm.
then we have a basement, which is maybe, I don't know, I'm going to guess like 300 or 400 square feet. So it's small and
Okay.
it's a basement, so the ceiling's pretty low. But we were going to do the intro program down there, and we said, how many people can we fit down here? And we
Mhm.
figured we could safely fit 14. We ended up having 15 sign up. So we were like, oh, okay. And our kickboxing classes have been smaller than that. So we ended up
Mm-hmm.
switching and coming upstairs, and the kickboxing went downstairs for those days. And we started out really strong. We had like pretty much like 13 to 14 people in every class. And then as it
Mm-hmm.
went on, it kind of started shrinking, which was kind of sad. Um, I'm trying to like but it went really well, but it was very every class showed like 4 or 5 techniques. So it was
Mm-hmm.
like we kept saying this is the Cliff Notes version. We're giving you a intro. This is what a triangle
Yeah.
looks like. This is kind of what it feels like. You're not going to be able to go nail it rolling next. But we
Mm-hmm.
covered what we thought was like a good foundation. And we had, I think, 4 or 5 of them sign up for memberships. We were hoping for more. Jeff gets more up in Bellingham, but he makes
That's like
people,
30% or something.
yeah, which is what I think
Yeah.
is pretty typical. Now, Jeff's
Okay.
getting like 50 or 60%.
Okay.
Um, but
Yeah.
uh yeah, the people that signed up and joined have felt very comfortable going into those classes, the regular
Mm-hmm.
classes. Now Jeff requires people to, when they come to Bellingham, they have to go through his program. His whole gym is so successful
Mm-hmm.
that they have like a waiting list to join the gym, which is
Yeah.
like that's crazy. um
Yeah, he's
we're
done
not
a
there
great
yet.
job up there. I've gone and trained up there a few times. And
Yeah.
yeah, I'm super impressed. They have great energy. And I have talked to him, I've talked to a few people about the intro um, program for starting. And definitely we were looking at probably, you know, everything went a little sideways in the world, but that's where we're looking to get to. I think it gives people, uh, it's a nice way to give focused attention to the new people, and really be able to nurture them along and show them the things that make up jujitsu without
Hmm.
having, a bunch of other people. It also gives them like a little group to be a part of,
Yeah.
the new group, and
Yep.
like a little solidarity within that. And um, we talked about it on the other podcast, how your idea of like matching newer people up with more senior students, because
Hmm.
I feel like when you have that and have someone looking over you, it's got to make people feel better about being in the gym and that retention. So yeah, I'm excited to get back and try those things, and it's really cool. Jeff, and I think a lot of people in jiu-jitsu just sharing all the information. I know we've
Hmm.
both gone through like Team Switch, little, um, and seeing kind of the independent schools and how
Hmm.
they are super open and super helpful. Also, just a lot of the teams, I think even across the board in general, um, so many people have been really, really supportive to like, oh, here's how I do it. Here's what I
Hmm.
did with this thing. It's cool, and I like to see all the schools growing, especially like, another girl black belt opening a school. I think is super valuable. So yeah, anything I can do to help. But I'm kind of, always just like finding ideas too, and it's exciting to just talk to people who are doing it.
Well, we're supposed to start April 7th is our next program, and we have, I think, 6 or 7 signed up already. And so far they're like, okay, well, we'll just start whenever you guys open again.
Nice.
So we're planning on starting that again as soon as we can open. At this point, it'll be the first. It's Tuesday and Thursday nights, which makes for very long Tuesdays and Thursdays because that's the nights we have kids jiu-jitsu, and then we jump right into the
Hmm.
intro, and then on Tuesdays we have a fundamentals class after the intro.
Oh
um,
yeah, yeah. So that's a long one.
and then Thursday it's no-gi, which is also kind of no-gi fundamentals, just because we only do no-gi
Yeah.
once a week. So
Okay.
Tuesdays and Thursdays are long days, and I'm still working my full-time paralegal job. So I basically am going nonstop, and I'm still working
Yeah.
right
So
now. Yeah,
that brings us to right now.
right
The
now.
right now world. If people are listening to this right now, or maybe in the future, right
Coronavirus
now,
time.
coronavirus is kind of like, wow, what a weird thing that's overshadowed, I think, everyone's lives in varying degrees. And so I'm up here in Seattle, area. You're down in Portland. What is it like? In Seattle, we're on starting tomorrow, shelter in place.
We
My
started that
school has,
yesterday.
so you're already on it.
But we're at the gym. I mean, we're not open. The doors are all locked,
Yeah.
and I think it's fine to be here. I don't know. We like the street right out behind me is a pretty busy street, and
Mhm.
it's a little bit lighter traffic. But driving here today, we came here at about like 5 o'clock.
Mhm.
Um, and the roads they were not 5 o'clock busy, but they were like 2 o'clock busy,
Yeah.
which was weird.
Yeah.
We haven't really been anywhere. I mean, I've been walking like the dog a bunch. We're living with my parents right now, um, and they have a like 2 year old big dog that likes to run and needs exercise. So I'm out taking him for walks, and it's like the trail that I was on like all last week when the weather was nice. It was nice. We went out today and got like completely soaked by rain and hail, and there was still a bunch of
Mhm.
people out on that. So as far as like being in Portland, in the like we're not downtown. We're on the east side of like downtown, maybe about 10 minutes away from the airport, just south of the airport.
Okay.
Um, you haven't been here yet.
No.
But we're in a fairly, busy area, and it's kind of normal. I know downtown is quiet and pretty empty and deserted, but here's kind of normal, which is scary. But
Yeah.
like all businesses are all closed, and all the restaurants have been to go for a while. Um, yeah. We
Yeah.
went to Costco
So
last week,
how
and it was weird, but it wasn't crazy. So,
the schools have shut down there for kids.
yep.
All the kids are at home. Um, so have you been done? When did you stop teaching classes? How long have you guys been closed?
We
Couple
closed
weeks?
on Friday the 13th.
Friday the 13th. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, a
Um
little over a week.
yeah, the Thursday before, actually that whole week before, I made the kids like we had a bottle of hand sanitizer. I took the hand sanitizer to the kids when they left the gym.
Hmm.
That Monday I had 12 women in my women's class. The guy like Brian takes the guys down in the basement for like the guys class just because we want to give them something to do too.
Yeah.
And they go in the basement. We shove the guys in the basement. But he had like 6 guys. So we had like close to 20 people on the mats on Monday, the week that we closed. And even that Thursday, the last day we've had class, I think we had like 6 or 7 people, but I tried to do like no-gi without like touching super close, but it was really hard. And um, that Friday was when things started getting more serious. And that's when things in Seattle started closing down. And we're on the same team as Foster. And we decided kind of early on, like, we're going to follow Foster's lead.
Hmm.
And he closed on Friday. So we were like, okay, we're going to close too. And I feel like it was the right
Totally.
decision.
Yeah.
Some
Yeah. This
gyms
thing
just
has
closed
just been
yesterday.
pretty crazy, right? It's like
When
been
did you
a
guys
I've
close?
we closed the Monday, basically when they ordered it. We closed when they ordered. We were like, our school was definitely tapering. It was like tapering, like almost like people self-selecting home,
Mhm.
some kids. Just the feeling in the air was just a little different. Um, yeah, what a crazy. I was telling someone I'm like, like I can't really wrap my head around it. Like the implications of it and just the whole thing. Like, wow, yeah, who knew? Uh, I guess we'll just see. I think I tried to do a podcast. I told you I'm pretty low tech. I
It's
tried to do a
okay. So am
podcast
I.
with some other friends that had been in China. They actually just got back to Canada and they were quarantined in China from January until March.
Oh,
Um,
wow.
and then they just got back and are now having to do the 2 week quarantine in Canada. And they said that, everything there was shut down and a lot of the neighborhoods you need to just get your temperature checked to be able to go in and out of everything. Um, you know, so yeah, I have another friend I'm going to try and reach out to that's in Italy because I'm just like, man, it's just pretty, it's hard to understand. And it's like, I've kind of realized talking to different people, it's like, I guess like anything, it's what your view is, where is your perspective? Because like, well, I'm in Gold Bar, which is like out for my house. It's like by the mountains. And it's like,
Mm-hmm.
everyone here, it's pretty rural. Um, for a little bit, the grocery store was a little crazy, no toilet
Yeah.
paper, but we have one grocery store. There's basically like one main town in my road, one main road. People here are just like cleaning their yards, and it doesn't
Yeah.
seem too much. Um, but then in Seattle, you can see, yeah, things are definitely a little different, a little slower. Everything's closed. We'll see how the shelter in place, they just are imposing that. How will that make things different? I know they had some problems while out here in Gold Bar over the weekend. They were having problems with too many people at the park, at
Yeah.
the
Well,
national
the
parks.
Oregon coast was like that this past weekend. Everybody
Yeah,
went to the coast this weekend.
yeah.
And
So
I had thought
yeah,
about it. I
Gold
was like,
Bar got.
oh, this would be a good time. Yeah.
I thought about it too. I was like, oh, I haven't had, since starting the gym, I was working 7 days a week, and then it's like,
Yep.
okay, some time off, and then it's like, you still got things to do, and still been like going to the gym even though we've been closed. There's like, never-ending projects and just things to take care
Yep.
of, and ways to that. Well, we talked about how you're filming videos, right? You did some kids videos today. How is all of
We
that
did. Yeah.
going?
Well, we did I guess last Tuesday we came in. We were supposed to go to Pan Am's last week. And I think that
Yeah.
helped start our thought process was when IBJJF canceled PANS. That's when we were like, okay, shit's getting real. Like things are
Yeah.
being closed and canceled. And then for a day we were like, okay, we're still going to go down to LA. We had a bunch of gis to pick up at Show Your Roll for our intro program
Mhm.
because with our intro program you get a gi and 2 months of training for one flat rate. So
Nice.
we had ordered a bunch of gis and we were like, oh, we'll come down and pick them up when we're at Pan Am's. We did that last year.
Mhm.
And so we're like, oh, we'll still go. Like, we'll go train with Jiva because that's our head coach now, and he's in Irvine. Like, this will be a little vacation, cool. And then over the weekend, it was like, no, we're not going anywhere. So
Yeah.
that kind of started our thinking, and we also like side note as to like other stuff going on in the world. There was supposed to be a Globetrotters camp, I think, this week in Arizona.
Okay.
And we had friends that were flying in from Belgium. They were going to be in LA during Pan Am's, and then they were going
Mhm.
to go to Las Vegas and get married, and then go to Arizona for camp. So we were talking to them. Like he was like, "Well, we just like, what if we get stuck in the U.S.? Like, what's going to happen?" And
Yeah.
like we were thinking, like trying to help him. I was like, "Well, if everything goes to shit and you get stuck in the U.S., drive up to Portland. You can sleep at the gym."
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
so hearing like we've been in touch and they ended up not coming. And he's a police officer in Brussels. So he's actually had to work extra hours because they've shut everything down. So it's been interesting to hear a global perspective on what's going on in Europe. But
Mhm.
uh yeah, so last Tuesday I had already taken the day off of work because that's the day we're flying down to LA. So I was like, well, I'll just take the day off anyway. And Brian and I came and filmed like 30 videos. And we decided
Nice.
instead of showing new stuff, we went over everything we've gone over recently. So it
Totally.
was like review. So it wasn't anything new. It was like, oh, here's a detail maybe I missed before. And then it took Brian
Yeah.
a couple days to edit all the videos. And he put them up on not a private YouTube link, but like you can't search and find it. You have to have the link to find our stuff because
Yeah.
it's not great production. And like I'm too much of a perfectionist to like put it out for the public. I wanted to like
Yeah.
look right, sound good. Like we don't have a fancy microphone or anything like that. So,
Yeah.
and then yesterday we did. Well, then like another day last week, I did just a couple like ideas for things for people to do, like jujitsu, like drills, solo drills.
Mhm.
I think we did a Tabata workout, but I didn't do the like I just showed them the exercises and gave them like this is how you do it.
Yeah.
And then did a little yoga flow. But then yesterday we were like, let's just do the workout. And Brian did like a Facebook Live, and we
Yeah.
had like 4 or 5 students jump in and do the workout with us. And then today they've been bitching about how sore they are, which I was like, oh, that's good. So we're gonna try to
Yeah.
figure out how to do that. But like the video had music on. So then Facebook sent us a nasty message. It was like, you have to take this down. It has copyrighted music. If you don't have the rights to it, you have to take it down.
Yeah.
So we took it down. So today we recorded a kids Tabata workout. So it was a shorter one because we were like, can kids handle 4 minutes? Do you know what a Tabata is from like CrossFit?
It's as much as you can do, basically, right? In a
It's like
time.
20 seconds of work and 10 seconds of rest, and you do it for 8 rounds or four
Okay.
minutes. But today
Yeah.
for the kids, we just did 2 minutes because like these
Okay.
kids get bored after 30 seconds of something. So we were like, well, and doing the kids, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna be sore from the kids workout today. Um, but I think we're gonna set a time where we do like a Facebook live and then we record it and we put it on the YouTube, or we put it up for people to do at a later date and time. Um,
Have you heard about Zoom?
we yes, that was today's project for Brian. He
Okay.
found some program where he it had like the workout in the corner of the video screen. It had like our logo on it. You could hear the timer. It had all these like
Hmm.
bells and whistles, and there's supposed to be a way to use it on Zoom, but he's having a hard time figuring out how to do that. So I think what we're gonna do
Yeah.
is I don't know. We're still trying to figure it out.
Dude, well, I'm in the same boat. We're all in the same boat. It's funny because I'm like talk to people and it's like we're all getting these crash courses, right? Like, what did
Yeah.
coronavirus do for us? Is it taught us how to be tech savvy? You know, man.
Or it's teaching me how much I don't know.
Oh yeah, it's like yeah, there's so much intricacy and different ways to do it, but I always like I get hung up on the perfection of it, and then it's like you got to just get over yourself and just get it out.
Yeah.
It's that like I can't say I've totally gotten over it, but I'm like just like no, Cindy, just do it. It's like it's a lesson in humility. It's um
Yeah.
it's a lot of different things, and so that's the podcast too. I've probably told you. Well, I actually came to Oregon and I was going to do a podcast with you like a year ago, and I have all
Over
these
it.
podcasts,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
I've never released them. I actually have like 20 podcasts, and I have because I'm like, God, I said this dumb thing there. I have like say dumb things.
I did
I
that
said
last week with
this.
Jeff. I was two things that I said that I was like, "Oh, no." And Foster was like, "Yeah, you shouldn't have said those things, but it's okay."
You know, well, I every podcast, and I'm like, how do I make it through life without people punching me if I say all these silly things? But it's just
Yes.
like you just start talking, and it's like I tried to think like, well, it's you being genuine. Um, well, and then I also don't release them. So I'm getting over it, and or I'm trying. It's like, yeah, I definitely have learned a lot about like technology over the last week or so, and man, there's some cool things you can do for not much gear. That's what
Yeah.
there's some pretty nice cameras. I got this fancy, well, I think it's fancy. It was like a couple $100 uh, video that's on a stabilizer.
Oh.
It's called a Osmo Pocket, and it takes really nice videos.
Osmo
Um,
Pocket. I'm gonna write that down.
yeah, a couple people referred me to it. It's like kind of like a GoPro, but on a gimbal. I can send you the link because I'm a pretty big fan of it. It makes pretty nice quality videos, and they're not like shaky, so you can move around and it looks
Hmm.
stable. So
Well,
yeah, someone turned me on to that.
Brian got us a fancy camera for the gym just to take better pictures than just with our iPhones.
Hmm.
And we've been using that. It does video also, but it doesn't have like a fancy microphone. So that's where I'm picky. And I work in radio for my full time job. And so sound is like I try to make things sound good, at least
Totally.
like the audio part, maybe not the words from my mouth, but
Well, I bet you can plug all kinds of little microphones into that. Someone showed me like this little Rode receiver thing. It's wireless, and you get a little mic. One of Foster's guys. Do you
okay.
know Mike Baltiera?
Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So he's a video dude. So I was picking his brain.
That's true.
And he gave me a bunch of different. He's the one who told me about the Osmo Pocket. He did a video
Okay.
from my open house and everything. So yeah,
Mhm.
he works I think for Blue Origin doing their videos. So
I
he's
don't
a
know what
video
that
dude.
is.
I think it's
Okay.
like one of the tech companies, some kind of aerospace or some fancy. It's his job. It's his job to make videos like professionally. So I
Okay.
figure he knows what he's doing. More than me, it's not my job.
Yeah. Are you doing any videos for your students right now?
Dude, I just made some like warm up videos. um, I don't have a built-in buddy, and the guy, I've been like, uh, one of the people that helps me has been out of town, and then I've been like in and out, and then it's like, how do you invite a bunch of people into the gym? You know, I'm like kind of, and then it's like, kind of like, oh, did I kind of maybe missed the ball on it a little bit. I started doing all these other things for like the kids. At first it
Yeah.
was like that first week, everyone was putting out all those videos. Every video was released, and it was just like, man, I'm not gonna really try and out video these people right now.
That was our thought. Like, and then the BJJ fanatics had get a free Bernardo Faria video and get a free
Mhm.
Danaher video. We're like, well,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
I took
yeah,
the
no,
time
that's
really to
why.
kind of just talk to my students, and then like, do some things for the kids. I did a little thing like, one thing I do for my kids, we do this thing called What's New. We do it
Oh yeah,
before
you
the
told me
class
about that.
starts.
Yeah,
And so I just where it's like, I figure, I remember being a kid and like wanting, just like, you just kind of want someone to talk to you. And I feel like if I like have some good interaction with the kids, then when I need to correct them, it's not like my only interaction is correction. I always
yeah.
try and balance that. And so we did this other app called Marco Polo, and I made a little group for the kids, and they do like what's new. It's like a private video messaging, so that it's not, you know out in public. I know parents are a little like nervous, not always
Well, that
like
was a
wanting their
question I
kids.
have. Is how do you like? We're not sure how to engage with our kids member. We have to go through the parents because like
Hmm.
with email.
For sure.
Um, And so I wanna yeah, I still wanna do this belt. That's what I need to film when we're done here, is I'm gonna go film how I like to tie my belts. That
Hmm.
because they still can't tie their belts. They've been training for,
Yeah, that
5,
was the
6
first video
months.
I made, belt tying video.
And I've borrowed other people's, but I'm gonna go make one because we have the camera
Yeah,
here. And Brian, make sure we have the camera still ready to film me tying my belt. And then I want to have them videotape a belt tying challenge, and the winner gets,
totally.
I don't know, like a sticker or something silly.
Yeah,
But I don't know how to ask for the videos. Like I want the parents to feel comfortable.
maybe
So
you could try the Marco Polo app if you
Marco
want.
Polo
It's
app.
like, because you can make a private. It's a free app you can do on like iPhone, and you can invite people to it, and it's a private closed group.
Okay.
So what it can is like, you can record little videos and leave them in there, and then when other people from the group check in, they can watch the videos and leave theirs, right? So it's
Okay.
like FaceTime, but you don't need to be there at the time. So,
Gotcha.
and then everyone
Yeah,
can
yeah,
go
yeah.
in and watch. So I have the kids are doing like what's new, like, Professor Cindy, here's my dog, here's my cat, here's my bookshelf. And so then and I show them like, here's my house, here's my dog. And it's, for smaller kids especially, I think, you know, they're trapped at home too, and they don't
Mhm.
have that exposure. And, so I tried to think of some of those kind of things that I did. And now now I'm going to start doing more videos, because I was kind of, I think, secretly hoping like maybe it won't be too long, but I think it's going to be a minute, right? It's just like kind of settling in. I feel like we have time, trying to be kind of thoughtful about what's going out and how I'm doing it, and just kind of processing. Man, I don't know if I think I'm very sensitive, but it's like, dude, this is like, after building a school for a year, it was like pretty crazy. Like, oh man, I'm shutting my school down. Um,
Yeah.
I can say like, I feel like, okay, that's what needs to be done, and I'm comfortable with that. But the other side of it's like, dude, it's pretty hard. I freak out like at least once a day, like just
Mhm.
like, oh my god, because you know, I feel very lucky because you know, I have a school, I have a house, I have a lot of, all these things. But man, it's pretty like shell shocking, or like discombobulating and surreal, that it's like, oh, school is open, school is not open.
Yeah.
You probably feel that exact same way. I think a lot of people are in that boat of like, push forward, but it's still like, dude, I have to be Professor Cindy and be like a strong leader or whatever. But it's like, it's a little like nerve wracking.
Yeah, well, and for me, like I would go to Foster and be like, what do we do?" And he's like, "I don't know. I've never dealt with this before. I've been open 17 years and I've never dealt with anything like this before, so I have no idea either." And that's when I get
Mm-hmm.
scared. Is like if I go to Foster and he doesn't know, and then I'm like, "Oh God, nobody knows.
Yeah.
What are we
Nobody
gonna
knows.
do?"
That's the crazy thing. Well, look into the world. Looks
Yeah,
like a lot of people don't know. Do you know what I mean? And so it's like I feel lucky to have like, my partner, he's tells me like, yeah, Cindy, I don't know either. But it's like, dude, we gotta be calm and we gotta like be practical
hmm,
and we need to like be very thoughtful. So it's like, you know, those are like the kind of the things like, okay, I try and do those things, not successfully always, but like, yeah, no one knows what's going on. It seems like for real, like
yeah,
it's, yeah, it's good to at least have like, well, the lessons of jujitsu are you just keep plugging away. Like there's a lot of times in jujitsu where it's like, what is the goal here? Not quite
yeah,
sure. In like my life, there's a lot of things where it's like I won't say blind faith, but it's like, well, what I do know is I know what my goal is. And my goal is to have a successful school. And, that might be hard, but that's the goal,
yeah,
and I think that's like if you have that mindset and it's not that you're gonna like not freak out, but it's just like, well, when you're done freaking out, you still have your goal. And that's where you're gonna go every day is a little bit towards that goal, and yeah, that's really all I try and hold on to. I try and like go to the gym every day and do some work and, you know, do those things to keep my mind like, okay, here's the goal, like reminding myself of the goal. And so yeah, it's there's no lack of projects to be done too, and like uh, learning about videos and man, another school owner thing. Did you do your website? Did you build a website? Did you have someone do it?
our website's through our software, our member software management, whatever. It's called Martial Arts on
CRM.
Rails. Well, Martial
Oh,
Arts on
okay.
Rails is what we're using, and it sounds like they're making a whole bunch of like new features or new things that we can do with it in this downtime because they train too. Um, and we think in the next week or so we may be able to post videos on that website for like members to
Oh,
log in.
sweet.
But yeah, the that company has been pretty cool. Like there's, nothing's perfect, but it manages so much. Like we don't have a whole lot of say on how our website looks, but we can control the
Mhm.
content and what pictures are there. Like we can't control the font or like where stuff is exactly, but it has all the relevant information. It has a schedule like that we can update and but it does everything. So it's been pretty for someone who doesn't know how to code or do anything computer wise like that, like creating a website. It's been really
Yeah.
handy.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a whole other thing. I learned about, I lost my earphone. I learned
Oh no.
about how to teach myself about some of that stuff. I went through Squarespace and just built kind of it's pretty simplistic, but it's like, yeah, there's still all kinds of little things like, okay, figure this out. I've learned how to build an online store, things like that. So, yeah, just, dude, technology. I don't know. Does your thing, is it like your billing within it
Mhm.
and all of that? So like
Yeah,
I think they call it a CRM,
I have no
something
idea.
like this. Yeah. I just went through QuickBooks.
Brian, is it called CRM? The martial arts on rails? He doesn't know what that means either. I don't know.
I think it's like a customer relation management system. Um,
Sure.
the only reason I know that is in a former life I worked at Starbucks in their customer relations department, and that's like just that overall tool
Yeah.
that like does those things. Yeah,
Yeah, it does all the billing, it does, it tracks their classes, does the website. We can do emails from it, like, if we wanna make a fancy looking email that comes from the gym, we do it through there,
hmm,
and it sends it to all of our members.
nice.
It tells us when people's birthdays are, but it's
Yeah,
only, like, on the day of the birthday, so if we miss it, like, But no,
Good
it's
thing you
pretty
got
cool. And
Facebook too.
yeah, I just set up a Facebook group for the gym this past week because we didn't have
Dude,
one.
me too. I had a
I
Facebook page
just
and then yeah, I did the same thing. So great job. Got that accomplished. We both did.
and then
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm not friends with most of our members because like I hate Facebook. But I feel like we need to have it and we need to be on it and use it. So like I only have it because of the gym and because it helps. Like if we get to do a women's camp again, I'll use it for that. Or like I'm supposed to teach at a women's
yeah.
camp in May in Indianapolis, and I have no idea what's happening with that.
You told me that was AJ Klingerman and his
Yeah,
wife, right?
yeah,
At
yeah.
that.
AJ's
Yeah, so
AJ's the
all of that's
wife.
up in the
Yeah,
air. AJ's the wife. All of that's up in the air then still too.
yeah, and that's like, and she was like, "Well, if we have to reschedule, when is your camp gonna be?" And I haven't like that was one thing I was gonna work on at Pan Am's, and I don't want to plan anything right now because who knows? I mean, some people are saying like
Yeah.
18 months, and some people are saying like Trump today was like, Easter. Hopefully everything can be back to normal by Easter, and I'm like, I mean, that'd be great, but is
That's a
that
big spread.
unrealistic? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I hope with this we'll find out maybe a little more in the next couple weeks, at least to see where we're at. Not necessarily like that. Yeah, I don't really know what I hope. I hope all kinds of things.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, yeah. Your women's camp from last year, you had you had Rhonda for that, right?
Rhonda, yeah, and then my friend Marisha, and I can't say her last name because I always butcher it, but it's like Maljasiak. She'll kill me for saying it wrong, but she's from Poland, but she lives in DC, and I've been
Okay.
talking to her not every day, but I keep in touch, really good touch with her. Um, she is like engaged to or like a partner with Admiral Barbosa, if you know who
Okay.
that, and they have a gym outside of DC. And then I talk to Rhonda all the time, pretty much every day right now. And then I've been talking to Dominica a bunch too, whose last name I can't say very well either. Oblenti, these Eastern European women.
Yeah, but they're all heavy hitters.
Yeah. Well, and actually Dom called me yesterday and I talked to her for like 45 minutes and gave her some ideas of some things that she can be doing because she just teaches at a gym. She doesn't own the gym and she's trying to
Okay.
keep busy and I mean, they're pretty much locked down in New York City right now.
Yeah, that's what it
So,
seems like. Yeah, it's a
so
crazy world out there
yeah.
for everyone.
But the camp for this year, it's always going to be me and Rhonda, and then trying to find someone else to bring in. And I mean, I just like, yeah, I was going to start working on that at Pan Am's, and I was like, man, not right now. I don't want to plan anything yet. So we'll wait until
Yeah.
we know when we can do stuff. So it might be like this fall.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just being flexible and kind of yeah, what a weird holding pattern. I'm like, I
I
always
hope
thought a
that
global
people
pandemic would be faster and like more.
faster and like we would know what's happening.
Yeah,
Like, oh, the
it's
zombies,
like
they're outside now.
the most slow motion pandemic ever. But that's terrible. I'm like trying to like I
No,
have
I know what you mean, but I'm also concerned that jujitsu is going to change a little bit because of the nature of how close we are and like the guy that Cody on the call with Jeff talked about
hmm
that's in California that does the grappling dummies and stuff. Do you
yeah,
remember?
I remember that. Yeah.
Um I can't remember his name, but I'm like following him on Facebook now because I was curious what he's doing, and he's like, "This may change like the face of jujitsu, so we're gonna get a bunch of grappling dummies, and people may have to grapple just the dummies." And I was like,
I don't
"Oh
believe that. I'm
God!"
not. No, I'm not going to get on that guy's Facebook, man. Um, I believe that people will come back together, and I'm a massive introvert, but people need people. You know, people need to be around people and need to be physical. We cannot turn into a bunch of people who sit in chairs with VR, and I think it's
Yeah.
just like I don't know. I believe in humanity, the need for not sterilizing everything. I'm
Well,
gonna hold out hope. I'm gonna hold out hope for strong immune systems and the need for real athletics. on real people.
Yes. Well, I mean, I'm even thinking about like, do we need to clean the mats like between every class right now? Do I need to schedule like 15, 20-minute breaks between classes to let the mats dry between classes? Because that's
Yeah,
where I'm going. Is like, do we need to do that? Is that overkill?
yeah.
But
I'm a little bit of a germaphobe on those on the
same.
well, I started, in some gyms that were pretty gnarly, and I think just
Yep.
by design. Um, at my gym, I'm like, we like got to design it out, so we planned a lot of those things into the design of the gym. It was just like, okay, plan for like cleanliness. I was like, people are like, can I bring you a couch or a futon? I'm like, no,
No.
it needs to be like wipeable. I like had a rule. People laughed at me at the gym because at my old gym, people would bring you all kinds of stuff, right?
Yeah.
Workout gear, stuff, and I also like thrift store shopping. I'm really into free stuff. But at my gym, I was just like, no, I'm not going to accept any stuff. I'm going to be like, really, because it becomes like a storage unit for other people's workout gear,
Hmm.
and it gets cluttered, and I think it gets dirty. And, so it was just like, okay, don't do that. Man, another thing I stole from Jeff that was like a cleanliness thing. You know how this, like, I get creeped out by like, the dust broom that you kind of like wipe off the hair with. He uses
Yeah.
the leaf blower, dude.
But doesn't that blow it up in the air? This is my concern about the leaf blower because I've been
It's
thinking about that.
it is a concern. So I make everyone in the school helps clean at the end of class. So people want to rush the job. And if you leaf blow and don't do it in the proper way, and then we like leaf blow to a certain direction, and then all the hair goes to a corner, and then we have a shop vac, suck it up, and then someone will come in and spray. If the person is spraying too closely behind the leaf blower or the shop vac, there's like a cross convergent zone of wind, right?
Uh-huh.
And then the hair gets blown back and then it sticks on the floor. So I'm
Right?
like, I've experienced this and I look like a massive micromanager when I'm like, no, 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 don't stop. Just the leaf blower right now. And then you have to let it settle. And then the shop vac, because even on the shop vac, there's a little like blowback on the air.
Yeah.
So if there's like a convergent zone of the two, you have problems, right? Because,
Okay.
I have me and the kid, and we used to just do it. And it was like we did it really slowly, and it was just us, and it was always great. And then I started making everyone help, and we were like, why the hell is there like hair? Where is this hair coming
Yeah.
from? And so that's what I found is like you need to do it like slowly, but it works
Okay.
really well. Once you do it that way, works very, very well.
We may try it. I mean, how much is a leaf blower? Less than 100
Dude,
bucks?
$100, right at $100. Don't,
Okay.
because you don't need a high powered one because it's just
No.
hair, right? You
Yeah.
don't want it blowing too much. So I just got one. I think it was like $79.
Okay. We may try that
Yeah,
because we have a good situation to do that when you come visit.
yeah,
Well, yeah.
dude.
Okay.
I'll show you I'll help leaf blow because I have like I did it in like well you see my school it's like you have to do it in a unified front all like you. I had a
Yeah,
kid the
yeah.
other day. He's like half and then come back and half and that makes it all crazy. You need to do it like a little like neurotic, but then I feel like less dirty stuff is touching it.
I think I'm
And
gonna make people take their shoes off right when they come in the door after
mm,
this. I was looking at
yeah,
I'm obsessing about shoe racks, but I'm a
yeah,
like clean freak anyway, so that may
yeah,
be the other thing we do, especially in the summer. That was something I wanted to do anyway, but now with this, like people bring in all kinds of weird stuff on their feet. Keep your
yep,
shoes at the door that doesn't come even up here in the space, and
yeah.
we'll see how that goes.
I've seen like the foot wash,
We have a foot wash,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah, whatever you need to do, but I just don't want to turn to full time online yoga or not yoga, BJJ buddy or like grappling dummy. I don't want that. I want real person. I'm ready for real person jujitsu again. Uh oh, I think I lost you.
Uh-oh.
There you are.
I'm
You're
still
back.
here. Yeah.
Okay.
No, Brian and I rolled for like 40 minutes last night, and that was nice. Like, we can still roll, but it's
Yeah.
only with each other, and I'm afraid we're gonna try to kill each other, and then the ride home be like, "Fuck you." We haven't
Like,
got
why are
there
we
yet.
fighting? I'm so emotional.
Well, yeah. But on that note, I should probably go and film my belt tying thing.
Yeah, go get it
Brian's like,
done.
"Yeah,
And thank you so much for talking. And I look
yeah,
forward
thank
to
you."
coming and visiting at your school.
Yeah, I've
And
been up there. You need to come down here now.
for sure, once
Just
the
kidding.
once the global pandemic is over, first trip is going to be to your school. Okay.
Okay,
So thanks again
cool.
for everything, Hillary, and thanks
Thank
for
you,
the friendship.
Cindy. Yeah, thank
And
you.
yeah, we'll see you
Thank
soon.
you for everything. Like, you inspire a lot of us. So thank you.
Wow, I appreciate that, and thanks for
Yeah.
being one of my first official podcasters.
Now you just have to publish this or
I will.
post it
I'm
or
gonna get this one
whatever.
out. Yeah,
Okay.
for sure. Okay, thanks,
I didn't say
Hillary.
anything too bad.
No, nothing crazy.
Okay.
All right, bye.
Well, thanks, Cindy. Have a good night.
You too.